Hey everybody, welcome to Striking Kicks, the podcast here on Championship Bowling. Just to give ourselves a little introduction into what we're doing, this is our new podcast, an area where we can just kind of discuss some more topics freely, I guess, less scripted, less edited, and just kind of off the cuff opinions. My name's Chayton, co-owner of Championship Bowling, and this is Kenzi, co-owner of Championship Bowling. This guy. Kenzi, give us a little background. I'm sure a lot of people know who I am of Bold, but they may not know your background in like sports and other competitions and such. And yeah, give us a little background of what's going on.
Yeah, so growing up, I actually played softball, so I don't have a ton of bowling experience, but yeah, I do have a little bit of competitive and game.
This guy. Anyway, Kenzi, she brings us the non-bowler perspective, which, in my opinion, is extremely important because a lot of bowlers are very, very narrow-sighted and lose touch with what general audiences like to see. So, Kenzi's perspective here has, I think, contributed to a significant amount of our growth throughout the last year or so, and yeah, it's important, and that's kind of what the vibe is, I guess, for this show. Is me, the expert, I guess, in the field of bowling, and Kenzi, the perspective, the non-expert in bowling, but you know aesthetic, you design most of our merch, and you know what's entertaining. If it doesn't entertain you, then it's probably not going to be entertaining to other people. So we try to put out a product that is not only entertaining to us bowlers, but it's appealing to general audiences, and your perspective is invaluable for that. So that's a little bit of an introduction about us and what we plan to do here with Striking Kicks. To give you a little bit of a background on the name of Striking Kicks, this was Kenzi's idea. The last several times that we've been bowling, the reason that I was recognized, I guess you could say, is my right shoe, the push-off shoe, transitioned to wearing a Jordan 1 Turbo Green, and that's kind of my signature now. So that's why the podcast name Striking Kicks, right?
That's right.
This guy. But yeah, Striking Kicks, we put on your striking shoes. It kind of is a play off of that term. We tried to make it a little more modern, and that's what I'm known for, I guess, is my Turbo Green Jordan 1 that's on my right foot now. I literally got at Sam's Town last weekend, 2 weekends ago. The only reason he's like, I thought that was you, but then I saw the shoe and I knew. So that's happened a couple times. All right, so introductions out of the way. First thing we're going to talk about today is Kenzi's first league night experience. Yes, I know some folks out there maybe say they hate league night, but Kenzi got a taste of her first league night. Why don't you tell everybody how that went?
I would agree. I think that I need one of the I hate league shirts that I see on our Instagram because I definitely agree.
Do you really agree? It's more of a joke because, like house shots and stuff, and they're too easy or they're too cliffed, or I don't know. There's a lot of cliche in I hate league, but as a non-bowler, right? And you obviously know me, and I want the time that we want to spend together is bowling, or I want to spend together. Some of it's bowling, but as a non-bowler, there's some people out there that may have wanted to join a league before, but maybe we're too scared or too intimidated or something like that. So what do you what would you say to someone like that may want to join a league? How was your experience? Was it fun? Was it good hanging out with me and your mom, or how did you feel?
Yeah, so it was fun to hang out with everybody for sure. I'm sure I'm going to get to know a lot of people throughout this 10 weeks of league, but kind of where you were saying that the house shot's so easy, I definitely don't agree because I couldn't even hit 100 pins a game. So that was really frustrating for me. But
Yeah, we experienced some frustrations out there. We have a plan, though. We have a plan, right? League in a lot of people's eyes is just this league specifically is for fun, and we want you to get better. It's hard for us to commit a lot of time to just go bowl for fun or to practice and stuff. So that's kind of what we're going to use this league experience. 9 more weeks left. So we put together a little bit of a game plan on how you'll improve, right? So we have to put some goals in place on how you're going to improve. We've got the steps we're going to take. So tell me, what were some of the issues? Tell us what were some of the issues that you had in the middle part of our league night.
well, there's a very long list of things that went wrong, but for starters, I don't start or end with the correct foot. So that was a good start to the night. We transitioned, and most of the time, we were able to at least end on the right foot, on my sliding foot. So that was good. But yeah, so for the next few weeks, we're just going to plan on starting with one thing to work on and get that down until I feel like I'm pretty confident in it, and then work on something else. So yeah, there's a lot of things to work on for my game personally, but I think that after these few weeks, we should hopefully see some higher scores.
Hopefully. I think we were really close, in my opinion. We were really close to getting you to consistently throwing the ball down the lane. I think the first thing is you were inconsistent on how many steps you did take. We got you down on the sliding on your left foot, but then you would sometimes take 7 or 8 steps, and then you'd sometimes take 5. So we're going to know that we're going to start with our left foot the first game. We're going to try to break this down into games, I think. And for those of you out there that maybe want to try to get better, that's what we're going to try at least. And what I think is a good idea is to take it game by game. So we're in the first game. We're just going to work on making sure that Kenzi starts with her left foot. And we're going to take 5 steps. And we're just going to make sure every shot that we take 5 steps and start with our left foot. And then we'll move on to the second game. Once I think that should be enough shots, because we may not strike a lot, so that's going to be 20 shots or so in that first game. But once we got that down, I think 20 shots should be a good amount of shots to feel comfortable. I think then we just need to get the arm swing started in the right spot. And these are tough things. So I would say these are probably the biggest learning curves when it comes to bowling, is because the balls are heavy, and getting to a point where you're not using your small muscles and just freely swinging really comes down to timing and feel. You got to be able to know when to start the ball, and you have to be consistently taking the same amount of steps at the same speed so that your arm swing is also at the same speed. And that's a really hard learning curve, because the ball's heavy. If it doesn't fit right, then you have to squeeze it and stuff like that. So I think we're in a good spot where we just want to take it slow. And for you little folks there at home, this is what I think is good. We're going to try it out. We're going to take some videos, I think, of League Night Week 2. We'll wrap up League Night Week 1 and 2 together in one video, I think, is what we're going to do. But we're going to try it, see what happens. And I think we will find some more success once we get you comfortable with your feet so that you can trust them, because it's the base, right? The base is your legs. And once you can trust your legs, you can start to free up the arm swing and get it in the right spot. So that's good. That's good. What do you feel about League Night? So I know a lot of, for a time there, a lot of people point at the privatization of our entertainment, to the downfall of bowling. And I feel like we're seeing a little bit of a transition right now where we've had that, I guess, freedom to enjoy ourselves at home because we're always on the go and out. And then that got taken away from us for a little bit, right? We didn't have these opportunities to get out. And it's hard to make time, right? And to set time away to have with friends or family. In our league, it's me and you and your mom, and your dad usually comes. So that's good quality time with some fam. So I think, in my opinion, that's kind of where bowling could be and is kind of, and we should maybe try to make them a little bit more of a push, is, it's a good time to set aside, not to get away from your family, but to be with your friends and family. It's a commitment, and some of these leagues like this 10-1 league aren't too bad of a commitment. They're not too long or too expensive. So what do you think of something like that? Because we don't really have things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think that for someone like me, like I am competitive, and so this is something where I can be competitive but still have fun, and I think a lot of people want to find something like that in their life, is to be able to go do like fun things with their friends, their family, or whatever. But if you do have that competitive side, you're also still like getting that in. So I think it's...
Yep, that's a really good point. And I think you see that a lot is there's not a lot of competitive opportunities outside of high school. If you're not playing a college sport, organized competition, there's not a lot of it, to be honest. There's some old man baseball leagues that like your dad plays in and, and stuff that you can kind of get it out that way, but they're I don't know, they're like there's no money in it, right? You have to have a real passion to do something like that, because there's no
for sure.
It's kind of just for fun, right? It's just because you enjoy going out and doing it. But with bowling, there's a little bit of an incentive. One of the unique things, not really rare, but unique things with bowling compared to other sports is you can make money doing it and not be a professional. There's tournament organizations like ourselves that put on events and pay out a large sum of money, and you don't have to be part of a team. You can't get cut, and really all it is you going out and practicing and having a passion for it and get rewarded for it. So I think that the competitive thing, right? You set a time to hang out with some family, but if you guys are competitive, bowling's a really good outlet for that competitiveness. Moving on though, this weekend, this is not this weekend, but the January 13th is the beginning of the Storm Utah Open, which is setting up to be one of our biggest tournaments we've ever covered. Our last grand finals, we had 40,000 views on the final stream. That's still growing now. And historically, the last 2 years, the Storm Utah Open's been our biggest tournament we've covered. So we've grown, I'm sure this is going to be just another one. And honestly, it's going to be, in the tournament's history, probably one of the biggest. At 553 entries, I believe they had last year, and I think they're going to have more this year. Some big names are confirmed to come: Darren Tang, Brad Miller, PJ Haggerty, Carolyn Doran-Ballard. Some big professional and touring players are going to be in the building, and we're going to have the opportunity to cover that action. So one thing I wanted to ask you, some of the storylines that have come up is Randy Miles won last year in dramatic fashion. That was
Very
really cool
dramatic.
to see. Has an opportunity to join Josh Blanchard and Josh Link to repeat. So they'd be the third consecutive repeat. Josh Blanchard won twice in a row in 18-19, and then Josh Link in 20 and 21, and then in 22 was Randy Miles, and he has an opportunity to join them. Talk to me a little bit. You were down there at ground level. I was calling the action from behind the camera, but you were actually right there watching them. I'm only limited on what I can actually see. You could kind of see everything. You could see Kendall down there watching. You could see the Reese family, Nick, Lizzie, Manny down there watching and cheering them on. Give us a little perspective of what it looked like down, boots on the ground, when Randy picked the 4-7-8-10, and really that was the winning moment of the tournament.
Yeah, it was really crazy. Everyone was so invested in this game because it looked like Josh was going to three-peat. He had the game. He was. To me, it seemed like he was going to win.
That'd be the first three-peat too. He would join Clay Reese in having 3 titles, and it would be the first three-peat. So there's a lot of implications if Josh had pulled this one off.
Yeah. So I thought for sure, and then Randy threw his shot, and I don't know if it was a good or bad shot personally, but he was left with some ugly pins to take down, and he got it. And it was crazy because everyone from the Reese family, obviously Kendall was losing his mind. Mm-hmm. It was really cool, and getting those pictures and everything of him actually picking up the spare, Kendall running to hug him and everything. It was really cool, actually. It was a really special moment. So I'm glad that we were there to cover, and their friends and family at home, they were able to watch it.
Yep.
And Yeah, so it was awesome. It was a good time.
It was. It's been my favorite call to date so far. I've had a couple of good ones. That one's probably the best one. You can hear in the background just before he picks it, Kendall holler. It was so loud. There's no microphone anywhere close to where Kendall was standing, and you could still hear him yell, "Do it!" And it echoes throughout the whole center. And then he picks it up, and everybody loses it. And it is cool that we can capture these moments. Like I said, there's not a lot of opportunities like this outside of high school. Once you get on past high school, an opportunity like that, it's not common to do, and not really common to cover either. And that's kind of where bowling, I think, sets itself apart. Really, we have some cons like every other sport does. Like the venues are really dingy and dark, and it's a little bit expensive to buy equipment and stuff. All sports have some negative drawbacks to them, but I think bowling is unique in that there's a lot of opportunities outside of organized team competition. You can still bowl on a team in an organized competition, but you don't have to. You could, go bowl singles events and make some money, and chase the tour kind of for as long as you want. You don't have to come right out of college and bowl on the tour. There's a lot of good competition up here in the Northwest and kind of all around the country. So that's pretty cool. It was cool to watch a couple other storylines. Alex Hoskins, You've been boots on the ground for almost all of these tournaments the last 2 years. So You've seen Alex in the stepladder a lot, and you've seen last year. Yep, he struggled to win. He was always there, and he did have some wins on the season, but he really struggled to seal the deal sometimes. In the last two tournaments, I think he split late to lose in those, and he hasn't won a Utah Open. That's crazy to think about, that Alex Hoskins, of all people, probably the most dominant bowler for the last 5 years, I'd say, up here in the Northwest, has not won a Storm Utah Open, and historically has been in the stepladder.
I think that just shows that it doesn't matter how good of a bowler you are. This pattern every year is just so hard.
Yeah.
If you find something that works, it works, and it doesn't matter if you're really great or not.
Yep. That's, I think, one of the many things that bowling is unique in is the amount of things you can't control. It's infinite, really, when it comes to bowling. There's so many things that dictate the success you have that you have no control over. So, although it's a lot of games that you have to bowl, and you can physically get tired after a while. It's a long day that we're on our feet, and it's a lot of games that you're bowling. And once you're bowling at a high level, you're using a lot of your body to generate power and speed. But mentally, it is a big grind, because you're constantly having to deal with things that are completely out of your control that directly affect your success. So not only is it is physically draining, it's very mentally draining. And Alex, as good and consistent as he is, has struggled sometimes to seal the deal and win in situations that really look like he locked in a tournament. Utah Open is on the list of probably major tournaments he hasn't won. He's made a TV show at the Masters, the USBC Masters, and still failed to win a Utah Open. So you can just tell that's how stout the competition is and how hard it is to win that tournament.
Oh yeah.
Clay Reese out here, he's been consistent for a very long time, consistently good for a very long time. He's the only 3-time winner of this tournament, and he could extend that out to 4 this weekend. And I think he had a pretty good, decent run at team trials recently, and won our tournament. This bad chicken, there's 2 of these in existence. It's one's right here, and the other is in Clay's garage along with the giant bracket. I kind of wanted to keep that, but we don't have any room for it here, because that thing was massive. But he won, and it was in the same center, the Utah Open. What do you think Clay's chances are this week?
I think they're pretty high, but I feel like someone new is going to win.
Dang.
Yeah.
Clay throwing shade at him.
I think Clay's great, and I know he does well in this tournament, but I think someone new is going to take it.
Well, that happened last year. Randy started out pretty poorly, if you ask Kendall, and then went clean set, and then just ran him over.
He was Mr. Clean. That's what We were calling him that.
They
whole
have
tournament.
2 spots. They pay out 2 spots. The first 2 people that go clean sets, and it's very hard to do with the Utah Open, get paid a $350 bonus. Randy hit it twice, and I think the last year before that, or the 2 years before that, nobody hit it. So it was pretty cool to see, and he put up some big numbers. I'm excited to watch. From my perspective as a bowler, knowing that there's such good competition, like I said, Darren Tang, Brad Miller, Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, PJ Haggerty, some great players. These players there's been a few of them that have tried the Utah Open before, haven't won yet because there is such elite level talent out in the Northwest that aren't professionals. But these folks have kind of made a name for themselves. It's going to draw a lot of attention, I'm sure. I'm excited because we're going to get a lot of content of these folks bowling and probably struggling, and that's always good for us, obviously. But for bowling, it's just going to look good. We're going to have I'm going to guess that we're probably going to have close to 600 entries. It would be cool to see that if we eclipse that. I don't know. That would be close to maxing out the squads, I believe, from what Steve said. But a lot of good bowlers, and I mean, doing the power rankings, I'm kind of worried because I don't know who I'm going to put up there. Obviously, you'd think maybe Darren Tang, Brad Miller, PJ Haggerty, they're touring professionals, but they've bowled the tournament before, not made a step ladder. Alex has made the step ladder the last few years in this tournament. So how do you put him below them? Randy Miles is the defending champion. I think this pattern is going to play well for Randy, so it's hard to put him down there. Andy Kinney made the last 2 step ladders of the season and ended up winning the grand finals. So how do you dog on him? Josh is putting together a really good run at team trials right now and is always there, especially when they hook a lot and they have to get left. And then he can play straight when you can't get any more left. I'm going to have a really tough time. I'm going to tap Kenzi in here to just start pulling names out of a hat because the competition's so stacked. Tell me though, what do you like as a non-bowler? You walk in, you see these big events like this. What is your favorite thing you see at the Utah Open and other big events like this?
I don't know. I really like to see once it gets down to the wire, all the people that actually stay and watch and cheer everybody on. It's really exciting, and it gets so dramatic, especially in those tough tournaments where they really need to strike or they really have to pick up that spare. So I think that's probably one of my favorite things is just everyone getting together. They enjoy cheering everybody on, and they really hope that it doesn't matter who wins, but obviously there's always going to be someone they would want to win.
Yeah.
But everyone's cheering everybody on, and it's always a good environment. So
yeah, it's cool to see. I like the pictures when we get to see, kind of more candid photos that you capture of people hanging out with each other and kind of the atmosphere and how it feels. It feels big. Like if you come in and you haven't bowled a tournament like this, if you walk into the spare time at our tournament and Steve's tournament, it is packed. There is nowhere to sit. There's nowhere to stand. There's so many people in there with so much equipment everywhere. There's a lot of energy going around. Some people are bowling good. Somebody throws a 230 game. Their next game they're pacing 160 and they're frying out. Somebody's on a huge run that could shoot 700 and everybody's talking about it. There's a lot of things going on, and it's cool to see. I really, we've been to some, I've been to your brother's high school baseball games, some of your dad's games, and the atmosphere it's different. It's different. When you go to these events, there's a lot on the line. There's a Storm staff contract on the line. So this is probably you want a sure way of getting on staff at a ball company and just come win this tournament. Bang. No questions asked. You don't need to be an influencer or anything like this, like that. You just show up and win. So it is cool to see, and it's a different atmosphere than, in any other non-professional sport, I'd say. I guess I really challenge a lot of you when we had some of our friends come to our tournament. Yeah. It's a little bit of a shocker to see how many people really take it seriously and invest in the equipment, invest in their games, practice, and come out here, and how much it means to them. I think that's what I like to see too. Is the photos you get showing how much these people care, how much their competitors care, and how much they want it.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially on the last days when we really get a lot of our really good content of, just because everyone's trying to make it down to that step ladder, they're trying to get to that final game, and so every shot they're either slapping it out or whatever, and they're so excited or they're so upset, and that's really just where you get all those really good videos and pictures of seeing the emotion that they're putting into every single shot and all the energy that they put into it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is. It is. Now, before we head out, the people at home are going to know my picks throughout the week. They'll get my picks. But what is your pick this week? Who's going to take home the Storm Utah Open Championship?
I don't know.
No, you got pick.
I'm sticking with someone new.
No, you got pick.
Somebody new is gonna take it.
You got pick.
I don't have a name.
You got a name.
I don't have a name.
Better think of it right now.
I don't have a name.
You got a name. I feel it's on the tip of your tongue. You know.
I don't have a name,
Someone
but
new.
I do think someone new is gonna win, or Josh Link.
So you think's Josh Link?
Well, but he's not new. So if someone that is
Wow.
going to win that is not new, I think it will be Josh.
All right.
But
You got a fan, Josh. I'm just letting you know right here.
hey, Josh hangs out with me and he's nice to me down there, so
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for
Wait.
tuning in. What?
So I have a question. Has anyone shot 300 at Steve's tournament?
Ooh, that's a good one. Steve and I were actually talking about this on Friday. We were talking. He's telling me that no one has shot 300 before. So those are Steve's words, not mine. Don't come at me in the comments if you shot 300 at the Utah Open before. That's what Steve told me. I know that Steven Villanueva last year had like front 9 or 10. Again, that I'm not 100% sure of either, so don't harass me in the comments if that's not true. I know he shot like 270 or 280, and that was the highest game of the tournament last year. And I know I've seen Alex have like front 8 or 9 before too, a couple of years ago too. But I don't know of anybody that shot 300 at this tournament, and yeah, it's just kind of tough too.
So do you think anyone will this year?
I think that if there was a year that someone would, it could potentially be this year. I've bowled on the pattern. I know that early on there's a little bit of a look. Now, if you have to get lined up on a pair where the gutter hooks a little bit, and I think you could throw some strikes. Now, the tricky part at spare time is you don't get a lot of hits. You don't get a lot of good hits. You're gonna hit the pocket and not strike a lot. We tried to soften up the pattern a little bit. It was still sport. It was sport compliant, but we wanted scores to be decent, and they played pretty tough. People were hitting the pocket a lot and not striking. Kyle Morrison 7-10 to end his pretty amazing run in the bracket.
How many? I think he bowled. What, 16
like 16 games
that
yeah,
day?
16 games that day on
Insane.
Sunday. It was pretty wild. To be ended, Nick Burrow 10 pins, and then Kyle Morrison comes up in the roll-off and 7 tens. And heartbreaking. But, yeah, in that sense, the pins don't fly. They were old pins at our tournament that needed to be replaced. And
They're new.
And now they're new. So old pins don't really fly once they get to a certain age, and brand new pins don't fly either. So I think it's going to be a grind. You're going to get, I think you're going to find pairs where you can shoot 230, 240, but you're going to find pairs where 180 is going to be the best score you can get, and managing that is really tough mentally, and it's just too hard to string 7-8 strikes in a row in that center. It's so hard there, and it makes for some good action. It makes the games close. People don't run away with it. You're going to get stacked up maybe 4 or 5 strikes in a row in a match, and you kind of have a confidence knowing that they're probably not going to keep that going. At some point, they will 10-pin or potentially even split off that. So I think that's really what makes the action and the drama. That's why Josh Link didn't get too far away. That's what allowed Randy to stay close, be able to make that spare, the 4, 7, 8, 10, and eventually win, because Josh seemed pretty lined up, like you said, to start up. But yeah, you kind of have this confidence that that a big score really isn't out there, especially late in the day. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, Kenzi, and thank all of you guys. This is kind of a new thing, Striking Kicks. We're trying to bring a fresh perspective to the game of bowling, and we've got Kenzi, who doesn't have a lot of experience with the game, and me, who started bowling when I was 3. So hopefully we can answer some questions. If you haven't, throw them down in the comments next episode of Striking Kicks. We will get them. What?
And if you're in the comments of the live stream saying all these people suck, you should come bowl it and see if you can do any better.
Wow. Genzer on shit. You should. You should come bowl. We'll gladly take your entry fee and watch you struggle on some of these patterns that these guys are bowling on. But very good point. Very good point. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.